Hello,
And welcome to our podcast, Wine with
Shelley.
and Shelly.
We are two women passionate about supporting those affected by cancer. Our businesses are dedicated to providing resources and community for people navigating this challenging journey.
Whether you're a cancer survivor, caregiver, or just looking for information, we've got you covered.
On this podcast, we'll be diving into a wide range of topics from the latest research and treatments to practical tips for coping with the emotional and physical challenges of cancer.
We'll also be sharing inspiring stories, interviewing experts, and exploring the latest trends in cancer care.
Join us as we navigate this journey together.
Let's get started. Welcome to Wine with Shelley and Shelly, episode 2.
Episode 2. If you're coming back, we first of all want to say thank you because our first one, we sounded pretty darn dry and it was a little bit embarrassing, but we had a good time. So we have to start somewhere, right? So we want to thank you for coming back, and we want to introduce some great topics. And so we're going to go ahead and discuss some of those things. My name is Shelley. I'm from Sparkling Survivor, LLC. I'm a cancer consulting and coaching concierge, and we support the whole person. In addition, we have Michelle here.
Michelle Shelley Holtz. I am from Breathe Inc., breatheinc.org. Breathe Inc. is a nonprofit organization that supports people affected by cancer. Our mission is to keep a roof over their heads, food on the table, help them navigate through the healthcare system, and emotionally support them and their caregivers as well. So as Shelley said, thank you for joining us for episode 2.
Yay! So, Michelle and I were getting together as we normally do, talking business and sometimes mostly having fun, actually. And we were discussing, she had been to a really nice event at fellow business owner's property and found that there was one heck of an amazing artist that she came across. And we thought we'd just talk a little bit about like music and how that brings people together. It brings emotion. It brings so much value that we can't even hardly, we don't even have words for half the time. And she wanted to talk about that scenario and how that made her feel that day.
Sure. First, we want to tell you that we understand that life doesn't always go as planned. This evening, it didn't go as planned for us either. We had a spectacular guest couple lined up for you, but unfortunately, they couldn't make it. And so we are going to talk about the event last night. I was out at Rosewood Dinner Theater in Delavan, Wisconsin. If you have not been there, it's a fantastic venue, event-driven space. Mm-hmm. I want to say that Gretch and Mark Haladish have been tremendous supporters of Breathe Inc. and also supporters personally. They have music on the patio. So last night was music on the patio. I showed up and I had no idea what I was in for. There was an amazing female songwriter. Her name is Julie Olney, and she had a health concern with her vocal cords, and so had not been singing for a while, and last night was her comeback debut. Mm-hmm. And she just took my breath away. You could absolutely feel her heart and feel her spirit when she sang. And it struck me when I heard one of her songs that she wrote called Survivor. And I thought of all those who have been affected by cancer who might really be able to identify with the song. Mm-hmm. And so let me share with you, Shelley, some of the lyrics of that song. First of all, one of the lines is, finally feeling the burden of everything done. Can you identify with that? Mm. As a survivor, what that moment felt like when everything was finally done?
That's actually a really great statement, and I think that comes with many things, not just cancer, but for me personally, coming out of the fire so to speak, of going through a cancer journey, during the whole entire process, you don't have time to think about much more than just getting through each day, following through with appointments, checking your, just having your own personal life. But then you finally get done with all of these treatments and surgeries and, you name it, radiation, and people also have businesses of their own, or they have families and they have their jobs, and you're just trying to tread above the water, and you're getting that little bit of air. And I tell you what, most survivors or people that have walked away from that storm definitely can identify with. Now you're finally feeling that burden of what you just went through. And that, again, can go for anything. It's not just about cancer. It's about like the world and how we are all basically surviving, but we want to actually thrive and sparkle through this. And how can we help people do that is the key there. So yeah, definitely can identify, and I think most people can.
And that kind of leads into another line in the song that says, "There's enough of this cruel world's riches for me. There's enough of this cruel world's riches for me." To me, that's just such a powerful line. Like, it doesn't matter what you've gone through, you're not taking away from someone else. There's enough for everyone. And we don't have to compete or compare ourselves to anyone else, or compare our journeys or our hardships or our burdens with anyone else, because there is enough for everyone.
Right. And we can share them together. I think that if you and I are there supporting somebody going through something that's devastating, right? I think that 1,000 pounds is a lot less weight when you have others helping. And what I find interesting is so far, many people think that they have to carry this burden all by themselves, whether it's them and their families or what have you. And it's like, we're going, hey, guys, we're here, we want to support you. And you don't have to do this alone. And that burden doesn't have to be so heavy if you have a team of people working for you or your loved one during these pretty crazy times of dealing with a cancer journey.
One of the most poignant songs of the lines in the song, I feel like, is, "I don't want to sleepwalk through this day, and I'm more than what I survived." Right? I think too often when we're going through any journey, and I've heard this of people who are in the depths of their cancer treatment and trying to come out the other side, that at some point, did you feel like if you weren't careful, you were going to become your cancer?
I think that that's always a possibility. And actually, you and I have both seen that from your social worker perspective and my nursing perspective. We have seen people slip into victimization, I call it. And you didn't choose to have cancer. We would never wish that on anybody. But I tell you what, there's two options. You can become a victim, or you can decide that you want to thrive and succeed in that journey. And that doesn't mean you necessarily heal from cancer and you walk away from it, right? Some people will pass in time. But the reality is like, we want you to be your person and never become cancer. I think that's probably one of the things that, I guess for me, I just chose to find humor and laughter and being silly and reaching out and really making the connections with people to be probably one of the most key things. And we all need human connection. I don't care who you are. That's just another value beyond music. That human connection, laughter and humor, and bringing people together. We can all identify with just taking light of things, because really it is a serious scenario, but if you take it too seriously, it consumes them. Consumes them.
Well, and another thing that I think people struggle with is some people, when they get through their cancer journey, they don't want to ever talk about it again. And it just becomes like this cruel entity that if I speak of it, somehow it's going to come back and it's going to consume me, and I'm not going to be able to find my way out of it again. So I don't want to feel the weight of it, but it's the only way I know where my story is, right? Where my story falls. How do I know where my story falls if I don't feel the weight of it? And how do I know anything different if I don't allow myself to feel this? Can you identify with that?
Absolutely. I think that you have to feel the feels, and they're not pretty. I think in general, anybody's scenario, anybody's experiences, you have to feel the feels to move forward. And I think that really, like when I look at wine, we're trying not to incorporate wine in people's lifestyles because it does somewhat dampen us and how we feel things. So everything in moderation, right, people? Let's just keep that in mind. So
Yes, of course.
like the reality is though, is like that is something that we tend to use as a way to cope with life. You know, that's just one example, right? But we have to feel the feels. Like they are ugly and they are nasty and they hurt. Whether you are a cancer person or you are losing your family member, those feelings are real, and we have to start having these conversations. We have to start addressing the fact that there's a burden on the person going through it because they are terrified of death because we don't really talk about that. But then we also have family and supporters that are watching their loved one disappear, and they don't know what to do with it either. And then we just kind of don't have time to really say, hey, how can we support you with these really tough conversations? And I think that's one thing that you and I really do excel in, is quite honestly talking about really challenging conversations. We're not afraid to do that, either one of us, ever.
Well, and that leads me to another line in the song that I wanted to talk about, and that is knowing when to turn and how to feel, because you don't want to feel dead in the water. I don't want to feel dead in the water. I don't want to sleepwalk through my day. So knowing when to turn and how to feel. Turning to Breathe, Sparkling Survivor, we are here to support you.
Right.
And lift you up during this time when you don't have the energy, when depression has brought you down, and when you feel like the burden is too heavy.
Right. And that goes for family members as well. I think sometimes we have it so directed at the cancer patient themselves, but this does include the whole person. When we say the whole person, we mean the unit of people that are supporting that individual, because cancer affects everyone involved in it. I think it's touching almost anybody you ever talk to. You know, you say what you do for a living and people are like, oh my God, you know, I cared for so-and-so, or I have,
Absolutely.
even if it's a neighbor, they've been affected by it some way, shape, or form. And how can we support them through that? And that's what we look forward to doing.
Absolutely. And you know, some of these topics, they get so serious, and I feel like we've fallen back into that again, Shelley. So let's cue up the special guest that we have with us today.
We have a friend. He didn't know he was going to be a guest, but we gained a really fun friend. And boy, is this individual is going to surprise you. It's sometimes magical things come in different shapes and forms, and boy, oh boy, are you going to be excited to see what we brought onto this show. And so was the owner. When we said, oh, by the way, our person may have fallen through today, but we're going to still continue to tape because we have to video and we have to keep moving forward because there's no stopping now. We said, hey, how about this? And we just threw it on. And guess what? That is the way we roll with the punches, don't we?
Absolutely.
Michelle, who do we have coming in today?
Well, this special guest, now actually, Shelley, he thinks it's about him, but it's not really about him. And that him I'm referring to is Shawn Slauson.
Yes.
Who also, Camo and Sky,
Yay.
has been a tremendous supporter of Breathe and Sparkling Survivor as well. But he has
we have a special friend to join us. Come on.
You do it.
And
Look at you.
Shawn, what is your special person's name?
Well, howdy y'all. This is Ridge.
Rich.
He's
And
a
he's
cheer
adorable.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today.
So this is our little impromptu gathering. First of all, we wanted to thank Shawn because he has been pivotal in helping us put together this podcast and YouTube, and we are super grateful for that. So we wanted to do a shout out for you and your business. But then, the fact that we had to kind of impromptu have a conversation and you happen to have to bring your dog in today, we thought, what's the chances that we have this beautiful animal that does such great things for people? And in your case, it really has done a number. Can you tell us a little bit
Well,
more?
Shelley, can I interrupt you for just a minute? Because this is a perfect segue to tell you that is one of the supportive services that we offer through Sparkling Survivor and Breathe.
Yes.
We understand the importance of animals
Yes.
and the connection to animals and how therapeutic that is.
Yes.
So if you are affected by cancer and you apply for assistance through us, that is one of the aspects that we can offer to
Yep,
you.
yep.
Not only through dogs, but also equine
Yep,
therapy.
yep. It just whatever animal, like we individualize it to fit your needs and what you're interested in. We will find a way to make that happen within reason. Obviously, if you have an area where we can't get a hold of that, it might get a little tricky unless if you're willing to travel. But we can usually definitely find something that works for that person. But we have this fun friend sitting here, and God, this dog is just very precious and
It's
easygoing.
his first podcast too.
Look at him. He is just ecstatic. You got anything to say?
Rich is doing a much better job than we were on
Yeah.
our first podcast.
Yeah, usually I'm on that side of the camera, y'all. So this is new, but
And he's such a trooper.
Yeah.
And that's why we thought we'd say, you know what, this animal has brought you a lot of joy in your time and
he
need.
has, absolutely has. So I do have general anxiety, and so in addition to medication, this animal is just everything. And he sleeps under the covers every night. I have some sensory issues, and I need that touch. That
Yep.
touch makes me feel loved, makes me feel safe, makes me feel grounded. And so this dog does nothing but rest his entire body weight on me 24/7. And so at night he sleeps right here under the blankets.
Oh,
And and he's just my ride or die. He goes to the local bars that love dogs, and
Yeah.
he'll just sit right next to me and give me this kind of soft, reassuring pressure.
Hey, I'm here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier he left the room and I thought, oh my God, we have to have these two on the podcast today because I saw his response to you leaving this space and he was like, nope, that's my person. And he was watching you. He's like, I need to know where he's at. And he was definitely keeping an eye out for you. And it was really just a precious thing because I think that they choose us. I really think that
Yeah.
there's value behind that energy choice that they
agree.
make.
I agree.
What kind of dog is Ridge, and how did you come to be together?
Okay, so I don't know exactly what breed he is because he's a mutt. He's a wonderful mutt.
Shh, plug his ears.
I don't know who you are.
We don't know your parents.
So someone actually found him outside of a PetSmart. Well, he had been rescued. Oh, are you gonna lay down?
Oh, yeah, he's getting
Oh.
Good job.
Okay. So he's a lap dog.
Yeah.
So he was found outside of either Petco or PetSmart in
Oh my gosh.
well, Jacksonville, Florida. That's where he was adopted. That's where we adopted him.
Okay.
And then, but he was in Palatka, Florida, in an animal control facility, and they bring out dogs to be adopted at the Petco. And so he was there, and the craziest thing is that this dog was $15
Wow.
You got a
from
hell of a steal.
from the animal control facility. Like when we purchased him, we added a zero because they're just donation based.
Wow.
And so when we walked into there and just realized that there were all these dogs that needed homes, and we were like, we're busting him out. And I don't care what we have to do. We'll rehome him if it's not a good fit, but.
And evidenced by, I think.
And the rest is history. Now, he did do daycare for about a year, and that taught him a lot of good manners. And the thing is that he's calm around people and outside of the house. Inside the house, he's just a ball of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he can play endlessly and everything like that. But I feel like he knows when he's like going to work.
Yes. Yeah, because you guys together, it's like I would never imagine him being really a high energy dog, because he's here, working with you, and it's really apparent that you guys have that kind of connection. And I think that's one thing that can be missing for folks at times.
Yeah.
That they really need the energy of an animal,
Yeah.
whether it's just being with them, petting them, grooming them. Just being part of that, and sometimes they don't have the financial ability to either buy one or have them vetted and all these things. So like to be able to bring them an animal like that when they have those kind of stressful scenarios, just to have a visit is huge.
Yeah.
It can be so huge. And you speaking how long ago did you get him that?
I think he's about 4 years old.
He's
so
4.
It was 3 years when we got him.
Okay. Okay. And you feel like there was a significant improvement for your own quality of life from having him in your life.
Absolutely. Now, he was wild at first. He did slow down after the first year.
Okay.
But he was wild because he was in a new place, and I had 2 dogs additional to him, and so it was a rambunctious house for a while.
Sure.
But he just mellowed out, and he still has his bursts of energy. Like when anyone comes home, he is just all wild and crazy, and you just open the back door and he runs around in the backyard 3 times. And then he just says, I'm ready to come back in. And he's good.
Because he's happy to see you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's the thing, is like he can't hardly wait for you to come home.
Yeah.
That's a dog's life.
Yep.
That
Do
is
you
a
have
dog's
any
life.
idea what he went through by some of the challenges you had to overcome?
I have no idea. He was well trained before he was rescued.
Okay.
So he was in great condition, a little bit skinny, but he was in great condition when we got him.
Oh,
So
nice.
I don't think he endured too much besides being on his own and a stray.
Sure.
So I don't know how long that lasted. There really wasn't any information.
Sure.
So
And maybe somewhat you guys are walking the same type of path, because, we're all learning in life, right? So like we talk about a dog being rescued, but sometimes we're being rescued too.
Oh, yeah.
Like that is the
it's
true
both
meaning.
ways.
And it has nothing to do with, a stigma. Like everybody you ever meet is being rescued from something. And so like you rescued him, but he also rescued you from yourself in a lot of ways. And our minds can definitely get in the way of things. And that comes with cancer, but it also goes with just mental health in general. And that affects, I would say, everybody. If we start talking about it real, I think that it definitely is a part of what affects people.
So it's amazing. I was commenting to Shelley about how wonderful dogs in particular are, because you can walk out the door to go get the mail, come back in, and they act like they haven't seen you for 5 years. Who doesn't love that kind of attention, that kind of love that you receive from an animal?
Yep.
So again, I want to thank Shawn and Rich for joining us this evening. Please check out camoandsky.com if you have any needs for website, video, or technology related needs. Make sure you check them out. If you just want to check up on Rich and what's happening, camoandsky.com. Also, be sure, if you have been affected by cancer and you are looking for some pet therapy of any kind, reach out to sparklingsurvivorllc.com or breatheinc.org. And once again, we want to offer you the opportunity that in addition to those people that need help whether it's financially or navigating the healthcare system, emotional support, supportive services, you can reach out to us on our website. We also have volunteer opportunities.
Correct.
Please send us an email, michelle@breatheinc.com, with your talent and any interests that you have. We would be happy to utilize them. And lastly, we couldn't do what we do without the generous support of our donors. If you have the ability and are so led, please go to our websites, sparklingsurvivorllc.com, breatheinc.org, and you can donate on either of the websites. So isn't it time to just breathe?
And become a sparkling survivor. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Rich, sorry.
Rich, yes. Cheers to you, buddy.
Thanks for joining us, Reg.
He's ready
That
for
was
bed.
nice.
Please
Thank
come
you for
every
doing
time.
that. I mean, honestly, he is just, I can feel it. He is
Yeah.
just a really special animal.
Okay, baby. Time to get down.
You got a good one.
Thank you for joining us today on Wine with Shelley.
And Shelley.
We appreciate your support and listening to our amazing guest stories. This podcast is brought to you by
An oncology survivor nurse.
and an oncology social worker.
We both own organizations led by women who are making a real difference in the lives of cancer patients and their families. Breathe Incorporated and Sparkling Survivor LLC.
Remember, there are many ways to get involved and support the fight against cancer. You can donate to our organization, volunteer your time, or simply spread awareness about us.
And if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast to share your cancer journey, a caregiver story, or even your business's supportive services, please reach out.
We'll be back soon with another inspiring episode. In the meantime, be sure to check out our websites and follow us on social media.
And remember, together
We can breathe.
and become sparkling survivors.